typical of sensitive people. In fact, in the Highly Sensitive Person Love, I report the first survey ever done, I think, on temperament at all and sexuality, and it was about asking sensitive people and non-sensitive people to anonymously to tell me something about their sex lives. And sensitive people feel everything more intensely, physically, and also we've asked whether they fall in love more intensely, and they do. So.
Oh, that's why. Okay, but it didn't last very long, I must say. Only 2 minutes, but it was quite intense.
Well, it's quite difficult to manage a relationship between a sensitive and a non-sensitive person. There's lots of advantages to it, but there's a lot of conflict first.
How do you do that? Because your husband is not.
That's right. That's right.
And how's it in your marriage?
We've been together for so long. It actually works very, very well. But we're threatening to write a book on living with a highly sensitive person, because there's quite a bit to it, and there's quite a bit that I give to him and quite a bit that he gives to me.
Because he's totally different?
Not totally.
No?
I think he has 8 yeses, and those 8 yeses we say are vital to our relationship.
Okay. Yes, that's in the thing.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
But it's pretty much an all or none trait to a great. It's not that there's a normal curve in the middle is where most people are. Yes, I think I'm
more like here, I think. And now there's going to be a new book out in Dutch as well.
Yes.
The Undervalued Self.
Yes.
What's that about?
I think it's actually been published.
It's been published.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Well, I'm a clinical psychologist, a psychotherapist, and one of the things I've observed over the years is that my patients, although they need to be loved and they want to love and want to be close to people, their tendency is to undervalue themselves, to see themselves as not as good as other people, and that they get so obsessed on that they can't really notice when someone actually likes them. Furthermore, I noticed that actually it's not so much about low self-esteem. That's why I don't use that word in the book very much. It's about being obsessed with ranking, and so the goal for me is to get them to have an accurate self-esteem, not a high self-esteem, because it turns out that people who are thinking about it, if you put them in the opportunity to feel superior, they'll also feel superior because their mind is focused on ranking. And so I think that low self-esteem comes out of natural instincts that we have, and we live in groups, and there's always 2 things going on in a group of animals or humans. There's ranking. You always know where you are in the hierarchy. Even if it's not conscious, you have that sense. And then there's also linking, which you see animals do all the time. They're being affectionate with each other, and we all do both of them. The more that we are focused on ranking, in certain ways, except if you're at the top, you're not enjoying yourself as much. And to be really obsessed with it kind of can ruin your life, because linking, the other thing, you like the subject of love, is, I mean very specifically, being attracted to someone. And I mean, the people here are attracted to each other, some more. So specifically being attracted to a specific person, but in a very mild way or a very intense way, wanting to be around them, wanting to know more about them, and wanting to help them if you can. So I'm sure there are many links in this room. I'm sure most of you have noticed that linking is more enjoyable and just as profitable as ranking. There's always going to be some ranking in our lives. It's very natural. But the deal is that if there's trauma around ranking, you've experienced abuse of power or whatever, then especially in a confrontation, it's natural human nature to become depressed. And actually, it's true of animals too. They get depressed after a conflict in which they lose. Actually causes you not to go on and keep getting beat up physically or mentally or emotionally. So they retreat and then they recover. But if you have that happen too many times, you don't recover and you become depressed physically, but also you experience this chronic feeling that you're not as good as other people, and it's a very conservative thing that protects you from going out and trying again. But people get stuck there, especially from a difficult childhood, but they get stuck there from events in adulthood too. So my book starts out sort of with ranking and linking and tells people the easiest way to get out of a state of feeling bad about yourself is to link. And I try to put it very scientifically, not that it's better to love your neighbor than yourself or anything like that, but that scientifically, the brain will only do one of these at once. So if you're ranking and you're feeling bad about yourself, if you do something to link with someone, not just be kind to a stranger, I mean, that's very good too, but to actually link with somebody that you like, that you know, that you have this reciprocal relationship with. But, like my patients, there are many people who can't do that because they're chronically in this state. So the book goes on, chapter by chapter, taking people further and deeper into themselves and to the cause of this. And I'm trying to give away depth psychology, which, you know, self-help books don't usually try to do. In fact, there's a research study out that shows that self-affirmations, I'm a lovable person, make people with low self-esteem feel worse. That's amazing, isn't it? I mean, the woman did the study and it was quite fascinating to many people, but it makes sense that if you're trying to talk yourself to go up and you've got this feeling that you're not up, then focusing on the fact that you're trying to figure out where you are and trying to make yourself go up and you can't get yourself to go up doesn't work. Yeah, so I'm trying to take people deeper and deeper into it. And it's kind of like a workbook in the sense that I think when people buy the book, and I suspect this is kind of the way it's going to work, is that it takes people maybe 6 months to work their way through the book and even to recommend it to somebody else because it takes them that long to see whether it's really working or not. Because it's a whole program, basically. It's a whole program.
And is it the same with male and female, or are there?
Well, that's a very good question. Of course, everybody wants to know about that, and I try to downplay it, but I think there's many reasons why women, physically and culturally, probably are the linking experts, you know, more so. But I think it's the same for men in the sense that I think men are probably happier and calmer when they're linking than when they're ranking. And it's interesting to watch chimps and bonobo, we were talking about, right? There's hierarchy, there's some fighting, but there's not very much. And there's constantly the trying to soothe, to groom, to have sex, because the bonobos do a lot of soothing through sexuality, and it's meant to calm everybody down so they can live peacefully in a group. And I think humans we have our ranking, but we're the most cooperative species, really. In fact, one of the reasons why we go to war so easily is because we cooperate so well. You know, yes, whatever you want.